in order to marginalize lies. Joining me now is Democratic Representative Ted Lieu of California, who serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman Lieu, thank you for being here. What do you make of this tendency of Donald Trump to say that any information that strikes him as negative toward him is just not real and just discounting it as lies?
Thank you, Jory, for that question. Let me say that we have a problem here in America. Our president lies pathologically. He has a staff lie pathologically, and then he attacks the free press, he attacks the judiciary, and this is what starts authoritarianism. Donald Trump is a danger to the republic, and we need to wake up in America to understand the harms that he's causing our country.
Well, you have even gone so far as to tweet and to suggest that Donald Trump needs a mental health evaluation. On Saturday, you tweeted, last 24 hours on Twitter, real Donald Trump went on a rant against about death and destruction, fake news and evil. Should he get a mental health exam? Do you want to expound on that?
Happy to. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but I do read Donald Trump's Twitter feed. I hope lots of people read it, and they can determine for themselves whether there are some mental issues. As an observer who's not a doctor, I think there are some issues there because, again, our president lies pathologically. He has a disconnection from the truth that is highly disturbing, and we can't have that person making decisions on things like nuclear weapons. And we need to wake up and really start looking at this issue.
Well, speaking of nuclear weapons, I mean, you yourself and Ed Markey of Massachusetts have actually floated a bill that would curb Donald Trump's ability to launch a nuclear strike. Is this pegged to this idea that he's mentally unhealthy, and do you have any sort of scientific evidence to back up the idea that he's not mentally suitable to make those decisions on a nuclear strike?
We actually introduced this bill last year, so we think it should apply to any American president. But certainly the rants by Donald Trump do make this issue somewhat more urgent. What the issue is right now one person can destroy the whole world, the president. Can launch 4,000 nuclear weapons with no checks or balances from the judiciary or the Congress. We think the framers of the Constitution never would have allowed that. That's why our bill, which has now been endorsed by the New York Times, says that the president first needs to get a declaration of war from Congress before launching a nuclear first strike. Got
it. And Representative Lieu, you know, one of the things that's fascinated me about watching this Congress is the clear discomfort of Republicans, of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle, with any criticism of Donald Trump, even when he says something that directly contradicts all of the past held positions of the Republican Party on Russia, particularly on Russia, but really on anything. Do you, behind the scenes, are your colleagues on the other side of the aisle voicing any problem with this? Are they as sort of freaked out by some of the things that he does as Democrats are?
Absolutely. And many of them are conveying that privately. But you do have some Republican members publicly now contradicting the president. And in fact, Mitch McConnell had to go public and say, no, America and Russia are not equivalent. You have now more and more members of Congress standing up to Donald Trump because they realize he just makes stuff up and he lies pathologically, and he really does have this disconnection from the truth that is so very dangerous.
Well, I mean, that almost makes me feel worse, right? I mean, because the idea of checks and balances was that this co-equal branch of government, the Article I power of the Congress, could slow a president down or check him if he was going beyond the rails. If members of the Republican Party are saying that behind the scenes, then, you know, do you see any signs that they will then go publicly and actually use their power to check and balance this president?
I hope they do, and you're already starting to see more of this happen. After Donald Trump had that very offensive call with the Australian Prime Minister, you saw that Senator McCain had to make a call to Australian embassy to calm things down. You saw Republican Senator Corker also make a similar call. Now you have Republican members of Congress trying to cover for the actions of our American president. That is highly disturbing. And again, we need to really look at this issue and have people ask some serious questions.
Absolutely. Well, Representative Ted Lieu, thank you so much for being with me tonight.